Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
Sam Pruitt. What's up, beautiful humans?
Well, my dear, we have an episode today
We do.
This week, as we talked in a recent episode, your birthday is in the beginning of August. Mine is in the beginning of September. So we're recording this around the eve of my birthday, even though it's going to come out a little bit later. And as we talked, you tell us the name of the episode because you really coined this. You coined what we're about to talk about.
Life as art.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, we came to that because of you. That's how I perceive how you live your life. So when we knew we were going to do a birthday episode, I was like, we have to do life as art. Life as art. You are the creator.
Yes. Yeah. So, for many, many years, I just want to insert this and then I want to go into, you have some statistics that you're going to drop and just hold on, people, like buckle up because it's going to be a little nail biting here when you drop these statistics of like how amazing we are, that we are human in form, if you will, or soul in form, human form. It's like so many years I would have told you I'm not an artist, like I can't draw, I can't paint, I don't play a musical instrument. Like there's so much inside of me that was like, nope, 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 not creative, not creative, not creative. And the more that I look around and I tune into what creating is, I'm like, okay, maybe I am. Okay, maybe, and what I love is when you have people in their life, like you, I have you in my life, to speak positive words of influence over me, like your life is art. Like that was such a, I was like, what? So
I was just bearing witness to what was real.
right. And I think we're saying we all have this, or we can tap into this. Not, and it doesn't have to, one of the things before we hit record was like, I want to open up the definition or people's understanding of creation and creativity and art is not you're a traditional artist that people might think of as a painter, a songwriter, a musician, a sculptor, something like that, right? Like wide open. So let's tell them though, before we go into the definition of creativity and creating, is like, how did we get here? How amazing is it that we have a life?
Yeah.
We have a life, right?
It's pretty mind-boggling. And when I think of life as art, I think about how you use your time, your moments, your days, your years to create an expression upon the world, the planet, the people you meet. That's what I think of as life as art. Some people do it 24/7. I believe it's just who you are. You don't know how not to do that. You're an incredibly creative person. And it's fun to watch. You do all kinds of crazy things. And what the hell is she doing now? We were just talking earlier about what you did just yesterday alone. Oh, I bought this thing, I created it, I did it, whatever. I love that. And it actually is incredibly inspiring to see people like you in the world who actually are artistic, creatives in the obvious way. But what we're saying today, life as art, is that every human was created and is a creator.
But mic drop right there. Just
boom.
Creators. We don't often, say something about that, because I just want to like rant on where we get conditioned out of remembering that we are creators, right? Whether you label yourself a traditional artist, we can all call ourselves creators. We don't, this, I'm hoping we're going to start some new conversation here with people, because this definitely, as you started opening me up to this idea, I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
And some people think of themselves as a co-creator if they are a religious person, or, however they might relate to how they came here and became. And so let's talk about that, because listen, my beautiful humans, if you listen to what I'm about to say next and are not completely inspired and blown away to take back your creative life, oh, it's just amazing to me. So how do I exist? How does Polly exist? How do each one of us, the listener, how do they even exist? First of all, what are the odds of you being alive? 1 in 400 quadrillion.
Wow. Wow.
1 in 400 quadrillion. I didn't even know what the hell a quadrillion was.
Yeah,
There's
that's a
so
lot of
many
zeros. A lot of
zeros.
zeros.
I had to look it up.
Is it
I
like
was like,
14 or something?
absolutely bizarre. So 1 in 400 quadrillion that you are alive. First of all, the universe had to exist. Okay, I'm not even going to get into how the universe exists.
Yeah,
The universe
yeah.
had to exist. This planet, we happen to live on Earth, had to be inhabitable. Okay, that's miraculous.
Yeah.
I won't get into the details of that, but you can study this stuff.
Hundreds of millions of years of that. Yeah.
Only 100 billion humans have ever existed.
Mm. Wow.
That's really not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Your ancestors had to have survived what?
Mm-hmm.
If you think back into the history of your family, your ancestry, and to think, I love those shows, by the way, where they track people's ancestry and they tell them, I want one of those done on me so badly. To even think about your ancestors,
I mean,
many, 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 countless generations, what they had to go through and survive and procreate in order for you to even have the opportunity, mind blowing. Your mom and dad had to find each other. That's kind of random, but it probably was pretty random,
yeah.
right? They then combined their DNA, and this is how this went. Females who are going to give birth, moms, have 2 million eggs. So a woman is born with 2 million eggs, okay? A father is born with trillions of sperm, okay? 1 egg is released by the mother per cycle. Okay, so she's got a couple million, she released 1.
That's like 12 a year. You got 12 opportunities a year. Yeah.
Exactly. When we say cycle, 15 million, that's the minimum, by the way. 15 million sperm are released per encounter. So mom drops an egg, dad brings 15 million minimum sperms to the party. Okay.
They don't all make it to the party. That's like, right?
They think they're making it to the party, but
Yeah,
they don't make it to the party. 200 on the average make it to the egg. So the 1 egg, 200 make it. But 1, and it takes about 30 minutes for the fastest one and 24 hours for the slowest person. Out of these 200 sperms that actually make it to the egg, 1 makes it in, and you are created.
And the chances of them missing each other, I mean, that's like hours and days of those things. Like, because the egg doesn't just sit in the channel for 30 days. It's like, what is it, like 2 or 3 days, maybe.
But
Right?
what if it was a different egg or a different
Yeah.
sperm?
All right, we're
It
okay.
wouldn't be you. So my whole point of all this is you were created.
Yeah.
You are a creative act. Life is a creative act. For each of us to not think that we are creative or that our life should not be an expression of a creative act makes no sense. It's innately who we are at our very core, at our very essence. So life as art.
And I think, one of the things I want to presence to is, I think the asleepness or the reawakening that I had from the asleepness was, I didn't feel like I grew up with creative parents, like we were talking beforehand is like, oh, what are the chances that somebody, takes up a sport or an art or, because I do remember being a kid and raising my hand and saying, I'd like to learn how to play the flute, like, oh, I'd like to learn how to play the flute or, doing drawing and, different things. But I wasn't in a household where it was like art was brought into the house or lots of rich music was played or, conversations about those things, like it wasn't fed, if you will, or nurtured. And I think a lot of us, unless we grew up in that household, and by golly, if you did, what a rich environment that was for the imagination, like, right?
So
Just as we're talking, I think the one thing that was a little weaving of my life thread is I grew up in New Orleans.
Ah.
and
Okay.
imagine Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah.
So
Imagine that just the amount of creators walking around the streets.
exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly. The creativity in, well, and one thing is, New Orleans is a hub for artists,
Mhm.
so if you go to the off of Bourbon Street and stuff like that, that whole French Quarter is art galleries left and right. It's like a Sedona or a Santa Fe or, whatever, there's art galleries. And then the expression in Mardi Gras is creative. It's costuming, right? It's let's dress up as something. Let's express, face painting and things like that. So now that I say that, that only comes around like once a year.
But you're so drawn to these things. You seek them
Mm,
out. So when you travel, you go to places where artists hang out. You do a lot of creative expression through costume, through dance, through music,
mhm.
all kinds of that. Do you feel like that is just part of your DNA?
I think that is bit, I don't think so. I would say that more so the conditioning around the family. My dad was an engineer, right? So civil engineer, very, mechanically oriented, did well in math. My mom was, more the other side, she worked in human resources, writing was her thing.
Mm.
So I think coming in this, you need to, the conditioning I got was you need to get good grades, you need to get a good job and get out there,
Make
right? It's
money,
like,
make money.
yeah, exactly. And so the flamboyance, the
Mm.
expression, I didn't see my parents living a lot of that. They didn't have a lot. I mean, if anything, it was through their work. My mom got some expression, if you will. So all I'm saying is I think my creativity went to sleep.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was like get a job, make money, da da da. And then as I took more care of myself and I started just awakening to what is self-expression, right? I think a lot of this after my overcoming the eating disorder and stepping back into the enjoyment of self-expression and all the forms that self-expression can take. I mean, we're self-expressing right now,
Oh,
right?
word art. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
So like just being reawakened to self-expression as a term, as a concept, oh, I have an expression, and I respect hugely like social justice and self-expression in all humans, all forms. And then I think it just set me on a little journey to start to see all the forms that it could come in. And then you start to get in your little channels like, oh, I love playing in this, or I love, like I'm hugely lit up by color. Color, sound some, but mostly color, right? I don't know if that's the costuming as a child or whatnot, but like the metals if you're listening to this, you can't see it, but in Samantha's office, she has all of her metals and it's just a rainbow of colors, right? And that just lights me up. It's like, it's so fun, right? So, how about you, my dear? How is your life as art? How are you experiencing it?
Yeah, and I definitely didn't grow up with art being part of life either.
Mhm.
I tried to play the violin in sixth grade. That was quite a moment. I think I
Mm.
lasted a couple months. And I have no idea why. Probably one of my friends was doing it. It looked cool. I don't know. I wanted to carry something to school in a box like everybody
Yeah,
else did. Like,
I
who
know,
knows? Yeah, we do so many things.
right?
Uh, there was always music playing in my house.
Mm.
We did have music a lot. And I, to this day, like music lights me up. I like to sing. I like to listen to music. It definitely influences expression of emotions and thoughts and ideas and things like that. But I don't play music. But I love to look at art, whether it's whatever someone else has created. I'm fascinated by that and by the creator themselves.
Mhm. Mm.
But for me, my expression of life as art really revolves around human connection
Mm.
and relationship, expression, connectivity to other humans, building connection and expressing myself in that way. When I think about life as art, I think about like leaving an imprint
Mm.
on someone, on many people's, on the world, on the
Mm.
planet, on the space that I inhabit. I think of art in that way. And that's why I also feel that everybody is an artist because we're all doing it.
Yeah.
And we can all choose what that imprint is going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to be. And I
Mhm.
think there's so much incredible power in that. So that's how I think of it for myself.
One of I love that. It was reminding me of, maybe I'll touch upon this and then I want to go to the definition of creator, because I want us to all feel a groundedness and creator, creativity, the act of creating, if you will. So as you were saying, the impact that you have on people, and I often say I want to grow up to be a big rock so that I can leave a big ripple in my pond, the people that I touch and whatnot.
Nice.
And the RV that I have, as you know, is super colorful, right? And so
Speaking of art,
speaking of art,
driving down the freeway.
I
How many
still
feet is the size of this RV?
32 foot,
32-foot RV, a
This-
piece of art driving down the freeway 60 miles an hour. And there's Polly behind the wheel. Da, 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 dee.
Okay, funny tangential story. Maybe we'll tell this one. I was going to say, first I'll tell the story of the evolution of the RV, because I didn't buy her that way, right? So when I bought her, first year I owned her, I just had to get used to, what the fuck is an RV? 32 feet? How do you do this one? Like I followed the impulse that I saw in someone else, and the lifestyle that they had of living in an RV and stuff. And this was before RV life and all that, our van life. But this gal was just like inspired me. I was like, I'm getting one of those, right? And then
Liberation.
bought one, and she was 25 years old, had been well maintained, but she was not a beauty, right? A picture, she's not one of these like flash, you bought a beautiful RV. I mean, you had a beautiful Mercedes Sprinter van. It was a jewel.
Sexy.
Yeah, she was sexy, right? Mine was like, and the more time I spent in her, the more joy I got about where she took me and the experiences that I went on and the places that I saw.
You fell in love with her.
Well, absolutely. Like,
That's
so,
what it was.
well, you know how it's like we're so are influenced by our environment,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So being inside of her, being with her, I went out in her, I think it was like in the first or second year, 90 days, I did a Western US tour to like 10 national parks and blah, 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 this big old tour.
Solo.
And it was just like fun, beautiful, just all this amazing stuff. And I came back and I was going to go out on another tour that next summer. And I went, and I just looked at her and I went, she just doesn't look as beautiful as I feel about her. And so that was like the start of the formulating of the dreaming. And I was like, I just want to paint her so she looks as amazing on the outside as I feel about her on the inside, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that was like the start of it. And I was like, well, what do I do? And how do I get it paint? Can I wrap it? And it was like tens of thousands of dollars to wrap a big art. And I was like, okay, we got to like settle down here. And then I got an inspiration of the art. And really what I recognized for myself as I was driving down the road, feeling this life expression of myself. I had a divorce, sold my house, kind of cut my losses, paid my ex-husband off, right? Quit my job, get in this RV, and I've got this new life, this new expression of what I'm going to be, right? Or, what is life about? And I was like, I want more people to feel like they can do this too. Like I wanted the RV going down the road, an interruption. I want her to interrupt.
You can't miss her. If she comes into your line of sight, you're like, bam.
Okay.
And then you read what she says and you go, oh.
The front of her says, follow your bliss. Who can argue with that, right? Yeah. The back says, wanderlust, right? Yeah. Like just reminding people. And I'm actually in the process this month, one of the things I'm going to paint on the side of her on the door, because on one side she has no writing. On the other side, she has some writing, adventures calling and I must go, right? But the one side with the tree of life has no writing, and I'm going to write, live a life you love. Right. So that's the next quote that's going to go on here. But let me tell you about this thing that happened yesterday, just because this is a funny story. So speaking of the thing that I did yesterday, so I'm on Facebook Marketplace, kind of looking for I had been considering, oh, well, maybe I'll find a piece of furniture to paint, maybe that could be the way that I paint. Cause just like getting little canvases, not very inspiring to me. I'm like, sort of needed to exist differently in the world. So I was like, oh, maybe furniture. And so I got this little alert. There was a dresser for free. And I was like, oh, so I run over there in my car and I'm like, the free alert. It's like there until gone. I was like, oh, pop over there. I get over there and this dresser, I was like, oh, I'll just throw it in my trunk or whatever. I have a Honda. It didn't fit.
Uh-huh. Of
So I
course
was
not.
like, well, I'll take the drawers and I'll put it in the car. And I was like, okay, I need another vehicle. And I sat and I was like, I don't have another. Oh, wait, I do have another vehicle. I
You
have a real-
took your RV to get the dresser?
So I come
No
back home.
way.
Yeah, I
I
came
can't
back home.
imagine what the hell these people were thinking.
So, and here's the other story. They live on the end of a dead end, right? Which is, that's like a no-no for, well, that can be a no-no depending on the size. So I looked down and I'd already been down there once because I went down in my car and I was like, okay, I can't really go down the four. I was like, oh, okay. So I did this thing. So I started going backwards down the road to this, to, and when I went there and got I texted the woman. I said, oh, I picked up the drawers. I'm going to come back for the dresser. I just need a bigger vehicle. Lo and behold. So I'm
Beep,
backing,
beep,
beep.
beep.
Yeah. Not quite, it's not a big garbage truck or something, but so I'm going cruising down the back of this street and I'm like looking for the house. I'm like, where's that house? Where's that house? It's quiet street. It's a dead end. This was safe, people. I don't want you to think like,
Mhm.
and I'm just going back. And I look and the garage door had been opened. I don't know, whatever. And there was two women sitting in there and I was like, oh, this will be funny. Maybe they'll, because everybody has a different reaction to the
Sure.
colorful bus. Some people love it. Some people smirk at it, whatever. So I jump out and I'm going to get the dresser and these girls just this mother-daughter, daughter was maybe 22 or something, mother, and they're like, what is this beautiful thing?
Oh,
They're like,
they
is
loved
this,
her.
oh my God. They were just like, Coke bottle eyes, just
Mhm.
as big as can be, like, what the, oh my gosh. And we talked about it. And so they helped me load it up and they were just like, bye, just made their day,
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and anyway,
Oh
so
my
that was just a
gosh.
little detour of how the love bus gets to make an impact in the world. Like that's my
Well,
expression.
what you're reminding me of is how every moment we have an opportunity to create
Mm.
and express ourselves. So you do some things like you buy an RV and then you proceed to paint the entire thing, all these different colors, and there's art all over it and whatever. You buy furniture and you paint it. You plant a garden from
Yes.
zero, weed garden, into thriving. Now you have vegetables and you're growing fruit and you're feeding yourself. Like these are all incredibly creative acts. Creation is
Mm.
happening
Mm.
in the act. And I think you're going to read the definition of creation.
Yeah, let me share with you. So this is just Google whatever. It says the definition of creator, which you and
Creator.
I and everyone is a creator. A person or thing that brings something into existence.
Read that again.
A person or thing that brings something into existence.
That's so
Brings
damn
it
good.
into existence. Like, a lot of people that I listen to would say, the chair that you're sitting on, the room that you're in, the building that you're in, whatever, that was once a thought. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I think it was more than a thought. I think it had to be a thought to become, but I think there was something even before that, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's that inner life force, that energy that we all are. Like you said, there's a sperm and an egg, and now you're a human. I'm sorry. What the hell?
Yeah. And the odds of that, 1 in 400 quadrillion. But yet here you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Don't take it for granted, people.
we are creators. And I think one of the things that's helped me, the older I get, the more wise I get, the more I tune in and allow that definition. And blessing on me, your life is art, and everyone listening to this, your life is art too, right? You are a creator. Just listening to that definition, we are all bringing something into existence. And I love what you said earlier is, are you bringing things into existence that are aligned with your values? Are you paying attention to what you're creating? Are you, I would say, creating deliberately, or are you creating by default, right? So a lot of my years of life were this story or this social conversation that we often hear: grow up, get a good job, to have a family, etc. And sometimes you and I work with women, and we have gone through phases in our own life where the end of a phase called, a marriage or a child moving out or a job or a career that you no longer want to be a part of, right? We get into these pivot periods,
Mhm.
and those are beautiful opportunities for somebody often to ask themselves, wait a minute, what am I creating? Or,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I can think of, I'm 55. I can't even, Never mind hundreds, probably thousands of times I've gotten into situations where I've gone, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like this.
Mm.
How did I create this mess or this dynamic or this relationship or this whatever? Fill in the blanks, where you live and all the different things that are called life and living. And sometimes you wake up and they're just no longer working for you. Maybe they made sense at one time and they don't make sense anymore. You
Mhm.
can at any time start to create again. Start to
100%.
create again. Maybe you
100%.
think, well, I've built this whole life. You're having a birthday this week and you've built an amazing life for yourself. But what's really important is, what is the life you're building next? What
Mm.
does tomorrow look like? What is next for you, right? What is the creative process that you will continue to go through as the creator of your space, your time, your energy, your physical body, the relationships that you decide to, manifest? Like, all of that is you being the creator of those things, not
Mhm.
being a passive agent asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, and I think something that helped me a long time ago, and I just want to remind everyone who's listening to this is, you know, we can get into a job and it looks like we live out of our inbox, right? I remember my job being run that way. It was like, oh, what's on the inbox? Okay, that's what I'm doing today. Very little
Mhm.
deliberate, like, oh, I want to go from here to there.
Reactionary.
Very reactionary, and life
Mhm.
as well, especially in the child rearing years for a lot of women, or, some sort of climbing some ladder or pursuit of something,
Mhm.
if you're not deliberate. I mean, you have the beauty of, you get inspired. You find things in life that inspire you. Like, I'm doing another Ironman. Like 13 years ago was your last Iron Woman, and you're like, I'm going to do an Ironman. And you get on this trajectory. Like, you're very clear. Like, and one thing that often jumps out at me, because when I learned about these things was in the context of, back in the day, we used to call it time management,
Mhm.
when people in the 80s, 90s, whatever, 2000s were doing time management classes, and Stephen
Oh,
Covey,
oh yeah.
day timers and stuff like that. Well,
I'm just laughing. Flashbacks, yes.
right, the little book, the daytime or whatnot. But one of the things I got from my study with Tony Robbins was, he calls it rapid planning method, which is like, it looks like a day timer. Like, it
Mhm.
looks very much like, oh, it's like, it's got calendars and lists and things like that. But he took it the next level. And this is where I started doing this years ago. And I think this is how my life now looks. And I almost, like, it's like I'm a fish in water. I almost don't even realize that my life is the way that I've created it, because I've started doing this so many years ago, which is, you take a grand vision for your life. Like, you sit down with yourself and you define, sometimes from contrast, like, screw this life, or screw this job, or screw my body, or, like, I'm not happy with something.
Yep.
What do I want instead? And you begin to pour into, through your imagination, through your suffering, through your heart, what it is you want, right? And then from that, you can begin to plan a life. You can begin to design a life. You can create time, space, ideas. Like right now, one of the things that I have, this isn't a time management kind of thing, but I have a list on the back of my day timer. I have a list of 100 things that I've never tried before,
Mhm.
like write a poem, or go see a new national park or something like that. It's the way that I express in the world, the way I create, is through inspiration, through finding what feels good for me, right? And I think for you, it's, what do we want our life to feel like, is our core message, right?
Exactly. To me, it's like I said, leaving a mark or leaving a stamp based on my unique values, purpose, and passion.
Mm.
So that's only I have those. That's me. And I make those decisions and I decide what those things are. And everybody listening to this is exactly the same.
Mm. Mm.
Those lucky damn humans that were born. Right? So if you can take that and then go out and express it, to me, that's the art part. It's that creative taking it, creating it, and then expressing it out. And
Mm.
it can be pretty much anything in any way, shape, or form. I do a lot of physical activities and races and physical challenges. And I absolutely feel like that is me being a creative artist of my life, utilizing my body in this way, utilizing my time and energy and resources in that way. And then what I do is I'm creating an experience, and then I create the experience. Nobody creates it for me. So even if it's me going to a race, like I'm going to do this Ironman race, I'm going to create every second of that experience based on my thoughts, my ideas, my interpretation, my expression, etc. You know, when we go backpacking and camping and we're out in wilderness, I mean, I feel so creative. First of all, you are dropped into nature, the ultimate creator, literally the epiphany of creators. And I go out in nature all the time, just like you do. And it fuels that creative part of us, by the way. It is definitely pouring fuel on that. But then we go into those places and we think even differently yet again about how we are here, why we are here, what are all of those things that we want to be doing. And it fuels and elevates that creative aspect of our own experience. It's, to me, it's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, this is really unique to humans.
Yeah, and I think one of the, and I don't know how this works because I don't know the science well enough, but I think, you know, I've just done 2 trips, and I've done 3 trips in the last 3 weeks. Each one had a, let's call it trail walk or trail hike component to it. One was visiting the giant redwoods on the California coast, which was amazing. 2 of them, sorry, 2 of those weekends had some jaw-dropping, you know, redwoods that are some of the biggest trees in the world. And then just this past weekend, finding a grove of giant sequoias in the California Sierras, which just the scale, like I was just moved to tears, you know, like I wasn't even a minute on the trail, and 30 seconds of seeing this monstrous beast. And I was just like, wow, you know, and then when I did the math, those things, you know, when they get to a certain size like this one, they're 500 to 1,000 years. I was like, okay, so that was like 18. I was like, was that 1,800, 1,700? I'm like, no, that has like no two, that has a no, it was 1,024.
Wow.
I was like, that's like Roman Empire shit, dude.
That's
I'm
when
like,
that tree was born.
that tree started growing in like the Roman Empire and whatever, you know. But I was like, oh my God. And then here I am meandering through my life, waves of places I've been all around the world or whatever. And then, like I told you, there was just this happenstance that I was like, oh, I was at this certain campground. And then I looked at this little sign and it said, oh, there's a grove of sequoias 6.5 miles away. I was like, if something is 6.5 miles away and it's a grove of sequoias, I have to go see it, you know?
Exactly.
Drove my little butt over there, and it was just, I mean, I cried for like 10 minutes. It was, I think the neurons in our body are transformed there if you're paying attention anyway. I mean, like there were some people that got out of I was just about to leave and there was a boatload of people. This was Labor Day weekend, you know, people are partying, having a good time, visiting with family, you know, power to them, right? They're all having their experience. They're like collective carload of people get out talking really loudly in a giant grove of sequoias. I'm sorry, this is like church for me.
Sacred space.
Like, how could you not be in awe and just, you just don't want to talk, but whatever, you know, so they're whatever. But if you're not aware of what you can pick up, you're just doing more of your life, right? You're just more, you know, the energy and the vibrations of the people around you. Whereas I was like solo, walked into this, you know, grove of energy and just felt it, let it, you know, fill me.
You absolutely feel it because there is a real energy there. We're all energy. So, hello, check into that if you just are learning this for the
News
first
alert.
time. You're just learning this little factoid for the first time. But additionally, when you bear witness to, like you're fully present and you are bearing witness to your surroundings, okay, we'll just use nature as one example. You are transformed into that nature. You're part of that nature. You can't just go to the edge of the Grand Canyon, get out of a bus, walk over there, take a look around and then turn around and get back on the bus. You need to be down in the canyon in the nature, people.
Put the phone down.
You've got to go. Exactly. These are transformational lifetime experiences that people, human beings, must experience. It will absolutely change their entire body chemistry, brain, body. 100% of you will be changed by this experience. But additionally, let's say it's not nature. Let's say it's going to be present with other humans. Maybe you're going to a play. Maybe you're going to a concert. Maybe you're going somewhere where there is a creative expression and you're bearing witness to. You love to go to dance things. I mean, you're a dancing girl.
Somebody's cooking, so people are
Somebody is cooking in the kitchen. You are witnessing and part of the creative act, this individual or groups of individual. I just watched this. This is so random, but I watched this Netflix docuseries last night on mariachis. Okay. I did not know this was such a thing in Texas. And in high school, the high schools have teams of mariachi players and they compete. This is a big thing, by the way.
Wow.
And I was like, it was so beautiful. I cried watching these teenagers. It's horrible being a teenager. It was so amazing for them to find this creative outlet, like-minded humans to make connection to create music. I was blown away. Okay. And then to watch them play and do this creative act. So we have so many opportunities. I remember when my son, he was big in drama and he started doing drama when he was 5.
Wow.
5 years old. Well, first of all, he was just born a creative person. And since he opened his mouth and could express himself, was always an incredibly creative person in the world. Like his energy was just, it was just coming and coming and coming. So through music, singing for him, and then through drama, and he did dance also, he found these creative outlets. And to witness this, okay, I birthed him, so it was different. But even if I wasn't the one who birthed him, but me being the one who birthed this human, to bear witness to his creative journey as he evolved from 5 all the way through out of high school, expressing himself in these ways was incredible. The power that he gave himself through the creative act to become more and more of who he was along the journey. I mean, everybody deserves and needs this. We have it inside of us. We just need opportunities to express it. And I really think that's what we're here to talk about today and to tell people is maybe your creative energy went to sleep. I shared with you today, I was at the gym doing my workout because it's 110 here. And there was this older female in the studio. I was running, lifting weights, and then going and doing core. I was doing the circuit, running around the gym. People just think I'm insane, but I'm training for an Ironman. It is borderline insanity.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I would come back into the little fitness room, there are some females in there doing their little stuff, more private and all that. And here's this older female, late 60s, early 70s or something, with her leg way the hell up on the ballerina bar in full ballerina mode with these gorgeous legs doing these moves. There's no way in hell I could get my leg up there, by the way. And also to watch what she was doing. And I was just in awe of her. How beautiful was this woman owning her creative act of being a dancer or expressing her body in this way. It was a little bit of magic in my everyday experience. It's all around us, Polly. It's everywhere.
And the thing that I started to get present to as you were telling the story about your son, and then also this, the interaction in the gym, and you said the word bear witness, but I'm starting to think that there's more to it than just witnessing it. You're collaboratively creating it. Like, that phrase, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound, right? So the answer is,
a bear poop in the woods?
Well, okay, that's different. But this one, because there's senses, right? So as a human being, we intake through our 5 senses, right? So
Okay.
A tree falling in the forest doesn't make a sound unless it's picked up by the inner eardrum of a human, right? Like it has, like that's how sound is detected, if you will, right? Makes a vibration, whatever, right? So like my RV going down the road is like a vibration out there. Somebody sees that and they pick up on it, right? They're receiving, they're co-creating, they're inspired. You know, like you and I, we like to ding the bells of people and wake them up. And what I'm hoping you're getting out of this, if you're listening to this at this point, is A, you're a creator. What you create is unlimited. Do not be limited by thinking it has to appear in a box that's called, like, you need a paintbrush in your hand or a musical instrument. Absolutely.
No special talent is required.
No.
You
No.
were born with it.
And guess what? You're already creating. You are already creating. What we want to make sure that present, when I was telling that story about the day timer, is when people tell me I don't have time for something, that is one of the, I love to raise my hand and go, guess what? Time is an illusion. It's priority management. There is no such thing as time management. It's priority management, right? And one of the things you and I love to remind ourselves and people, if they work with us and just hear us, is you have a certain amount of period on this life. We don't know when that is, right? Some of us, the finish line is getting closer than the start line. Who knows, right? People get diagnoses left and right. But if you don't take that pen, that musical instrument, that creator's gift, whatever that is for you, into your hands and start utilizing it, prioritizing your expression, whatever that is. And if you're not sure what it is, like me, like this garden that I have right now, this is like, what the hell happened? You know, and I mean, there's been
You
a
were
journey.
staying with us, and my husband's a big gardening freak, and you're like, that looks fun. I'm gonna get into that. You went home and you're like, boom, garden.
Well, yeah, and there's a whole little trail that happened. And I had no idea the joy and the creation that gardening is. Like it hadn't occurred to me. You know, in the past, it's like, oh, I'll grow some vegetables or, oh, you know, some flowers or whatever. But I'm getting such richness as I layer the lens that I see my garden through. This is art. This is a creative expression. And, you know, we talked about bearing witness or creatively collaborating with the people that see it, right? Like you sit in an audience and you take in the artist's expression, right? We're as moved and joyful sometimes as the artist who's creating it. I think the Olympics was art. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolute art.
I watched the documentary of Federer retiring. I was like, that man is totally an art. You know, like these athletes,
1000%.
right? So
Life as art. They're the prime examples of life as art.
so here's a story that this shifted for me. So my house is situated, I have a small little grassy little front yard and then a little backyard in the back. And when I moved into the house, it had two little planter boxes, like raised beds. We're like, well, that looks obvious. I'll do some gardening in that. And I've been in this house for about 5 years. Various forms of, like, I'll grow a little of this, I'll grow a little of that. Couple years, started realizing I just got inundated with bugs, right? So I gave up. This year I got newly inspired after visiting you. You know, Dave's like growing all kinds of stuff. He's the planter.
All kinds of things you shouldn't be growing are apparently growing in our backyard.
And then a friend of mine the story was, she was like, oh, I can't grow a garden because of all the ants, or sorry, the gophers eat everything and stuff like that, or the deer. And I was like, I'll grow you a garden. And so I moved the garden because the bugs were so bad in my backyard. I said, well, my front yard gets actually the better sun. I'll put it out in the front yard, having no intention for this to be what it turned into. My front yard, it's a big melon patch. Like part of it is a melon patch. I got broccoli. I mean, it's a little chaos because I don't love neat rows of gardening. Kind of like my artistic expression is, it whips out. It doesn't, it's not like a civil engineer designs it and whatnot. What's beautiful about this is I can sit in my dining room table and I can look out the window, and I have two kitty cats that hang out on the front porch, and they are the neighborhood greeting
Entertainment
committee. Yep. People love
sure.
to stop by and visit my kitty cats. Dogs love to chase them, whatever. But people stop by my house and they like look over I have a little fence that's maybe like 2 feet off the ground just to protect the cats. And then my garden is changing every day. Like all of a sudden, a new cantaloupe will appear. I'm like, what the hell? Look at that! Just this giant cantaloupe. And then the watermelon's growing by like I had no idea how fast watermelon grew. It's just like blowing up a balloon, just every day. So
Oh, wow.
yesterday I had this cute, and they had come by about 10 days ago. There was this gentleman, I found out his name yesterday, Liam, and his little daughter, about 3 years old. Her name is Poppy.
Mm.
And they had come by about 10 days ago, or maybe they've come by more, but I just happened to be here. And I had welcomed them into the garden last time. And so, oh, hi, we got to know.
Oh, Polly just bopped off. Oh, all right. Give us a minute. We'll get her back. Polly, come back and join me. Polly, Polly. Oh, just in the middle of that great story. Maybe one of the cats unplugged it. Hmm. Snack time. Hello?
Hey, so I can't tell if she's getting power. You know, you like plug it in and it goes ding, like it knows that it's getting
Yeah.
used. It's not making that noise in any outlet.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
So just trying to see if she's getting. I started to push down on the start button, and it at one point it was saying even when it was plugged in, it was like plug in, like the battery was at super red. It said plug in, and then I turned it off or whatever, and I did it again, and it said it's red, but it's got the little energy symbol like it's charged.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting charged. Let me try it again. See if it's to start up.
This is different than the last time it overheated, huh? It's doing different things, yeah. Wrong.
Don't finish this episode there. Come on, girl.
Well, we were pretty close to the end, so it will be easy for us to tape an ending at some point and slap it on there, but we just have to wear the same shirts.
Birds and hair and all that. So it's like to make it the same. It'd be good if we could do it.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm just hoping like if I can give it maybe I'd like to give it like a good 15-minute, and I just can't tell if it's getting juice. Like it's not dinging when I plug it in, but I think I'm getting juice.
But the light is on, so where you plug it in, the little, I don't know.
A little light.
Oh, you don't have a light, okay. All right. Well, let's just wait it out and see.
Yeah.
Just don't change your clothes.
Because we just have like 10 more minutes. We can just finish that thing and wrap up the story. So
Yep.
Let me just keep you posted. So hang in there, and I'll let you know as I kind of play with it and give it a little time to just get some juice in it.
Yeah, don't stress. We'll make it happen.
Cool. Okay, dear.
This is just called life.
And I'll prepare for a little editing.
That's right. Okay, text me.
Okay.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.
still taping.
Hello? Hey, it's just how it is.
So it is. I'm like, I'm wondering if these lights sucked that bulb. I don't know. I just wasn't paying attention that she wasn't I mean, it was plugged in the whole time. So
Okay.
I thought it
That's
was,
what's weird. If she's plugged in, it shouldn't be stealing juice from the battery.
yeah. So I've noticed on the left-hand side, I have 4 ports for power or C connections. And the one of them has been a little questionable. So I use the other one, but the 2 on the right have always been good. So I'm like, no, I don't know. So she's getting juice right now, which is good.
Okay.
Using significant energy. Oh, Zoom is using significant energy in Chrome. Wow. Yeah. I think we'll just
And
keep
the
it going.
lights. The lights do take a lot of energy.
Do they? I was gonna say they're just little USB or whatever they're called. But maybe they do.
I left this recording just so it would all be on one file.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So there'll be a half hour of me doing laundry and walking back and forth and eating nuts and whatever all else I did.
Yeah. All right. Well, she's charging while the lights are on, and
Are you
so
going to plug these back in?
oh yeah.
So let's see, where did we leave off?
Telling the story about my front garden. I'm just trying to remember exactly what I said last.
The
I could,
girl and father were coming and they'd come before and they came to visit the garden and you invited them in and I don't know what happened. I think that's where we dropped.
okay. So let's just maybe figure out how we can get to the close. So, I will go back to like in my thought, okay, how do I finish that story? And then I want us to move to our final question, how do we want to leave people and stuff? Or if you're inspired and you want to share anything from that, story or whatnot.
So how do you want to say the story about them coming to the garden over and then you have like a segue into that story rather than trying to slice it in the middle of the story? Because you're like, the garden's in the front yard. I've got this fence for the cats. There's this father named Liam
and his daughter Poppy.
named Poppy. And maybe they've come by before, but they walked by the other day. And then what happens?
I think I'll do that. I think I'll just start from there. Because then it goes in, I'm like, how did I recreate from where I left off right before? I can remember that story a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna just give a little pause and then think of how I want to start it.
Okay.
So I had, invited them in. It had been maybe, 10 days since they had last come. Maybe they had come before, in between, I don't know. But what was really sweet is, inviting them in, start to get to know them. Like these are my neighbors, and I just have these little interactions with people, like people walking their dog. And especially with little kids, like the little kids, like look over the side of the fence and they're just like looking in the garden. And if I'm out there, I welcome them in. And I say all that, it's created this really social experience for me. It's like I'm creating art, people are taking it in and enjoying it and weaving, right?
Yeah. And you're inspiring them, right? Their exchange, I was saying bearing witness to was kind of the example I was using, but they're coming into it with you. They're a co-creator of the experience and they're going to walk away inspired and who knows, plant a garden or the daughter might get curious about broccoli at dinner or whatever the hell happens. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where us being our most expressed self, like gardening is an expression for me. Some of it is my travels. For us, it's this podcast, right? Whatever
Totally.
your races and you sharing that on social, people are like, oh my God, Samantha's amazing. I can't do that, but I can do this, right? Or they see something and they get inspired to take a step, take an action, right? So there is no time, right? It's prioritizing, it's recognizing, I want that. I want to get up to that. I want to be a person who does that. That's important to me, whether you like or don't like whatever is in your life right now, or you're just inspired to try something new or to try something at all for the first time or many times. But like,
Exactly.
get up to it. So I think
Get up to it.
our expression is here to bring other people into their expression. So I hope that stories that we've told have helped people understand that they're a creator.
They were created, and the
They were
odds of them being created are 1 in 400
400
quadrillion.
Yes, yes. So
They are a creator.
so give yourself permission back to
Mhm.
be a creator in whatever spectrum of color expression that looks like. And I think sometimes we have to
Mhm.
stop saying we're not.
Mm.
Even not, it's like, I'm not an artist. Like I would tell you that if you had asked me 10 years ago, I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. But I was only, anchoring myself into not being that. And I allow now more, maybe I am that, maybe that garden is a little bit of art. Or maybe that, right? So allowing ourselves more and more of that and seeing yourself in this spectrum, this beautiful spectrum of art and how you express and the impact that you're leaving on people and the message that you want. So
Exactly.
So
Leave your mark.
so what is our like closing one thing, as we always love to help people, like if they
Yeah.
only listen to one thing in this whole episode, what do we want them to remember? What do we want to ask them?
I really want people to close this episode with us knowing that they are a creator. They are a creative. They are. We all are. And they should go on about living life as art and leave their mark. That is just, we're all here. It's so bizarre that we are here. Now that I've actually looked at all that closely, I obviously took science classes, but like, it just is beyond comprehension to me. And we're here for a reason.
Yeah.
We're each here such a such a unique grain of sand, snowflake, like just, and we're here to leave a mark on the planet, on each other. It's a timestamp. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful.
Yeah. And it can be very small or it can be great. Not everyone was born to be a Picasso or a, Gandhi or whatever, like become the next president. It's like whatever
We could use a few of those though.
Well, yeah. Speaking of good candidates, love that. Get up to good things and get out in the world. Make an impact, right?
Yeah.
And your mark can be your family. It can be your partner, your relationship, your business, your community, your state, your country.
Any form of expression.
Yeah.
You want.
So get after it. All right. Well, whatever that is, I hope you're left with something and you take away your creator and do something with it. Be intentional about it. So,
yeah.
All right, my dear, what do we want to remind our beautiful humans of our closing thoughts for every episode?
Well, I want to add that you're a bloody miracle. You know that? So am I. Yeah. And how your life feels is more important than how it looks.
And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.
All right. Happy birthday, Polly.
Thank you, darling.
See you soon.